prison camp that I'm in southern Iraq was called Camp Bucca. That's Bucca, Camp Bucca. Now, Camp Bucca is a huge prison facility, and for instance, when I was working in the prison compound, it was about 8 or 10 American prison guards watching over 1,000 plus Iraqi prisoners. So it's about, like 8 or 10 American service members watching over, guarding, watching over 1,000 plus Iraqi prisoners. That was the most prisoners that we had, and it was overflowing. But I can talk about that in a different video. But anyway, that's where the majority of the prisoners in Iraq were being held, in southern Iraq, away from the Sunni Triangle, right? Away from all that stuff. And the terrain in southern Iraq is just your typical desert, flat terrain. When you get to Baghdad, and it's where the Euphrates River and the Tigris River kind of make the terrain more vegetation, trees, less desert, because of the Euphrates River. So we go up to take a long convoy. This was in April. So 2005, we go up there and we make it to Abu Ghraib, and it's my first time in Abu Ghraib, and so I'm just kind of exploring Abu Ghraib and seeing how things are, and it wasn't bad. I was able to get my hands on some Cuban cigars and me and some friends. We were smoking some Cuban cigars, So it's interesting how there's different reactions under a combat situation like that. I'm sort of, and I'm more of a flight anxious kind of a person, because when you're under stress, you can fight or flight. I'm more on the flight side. That's sort of my natural reaction, and which is great because it keeps you alive, is you're supposed to feel anxious. Okay, good. Now breathe through your nose. Just say, as you breathe in, you can say in, and as you breathe out, you can say out. And be with that feeling that you're feeling. Be with that anxiety, okay? Let it be there. Okay? Alright, good. You're doing good. Now I'm here with you. You're doing a great job. Alright, I continue. And now say to yourself, I can stand it. I can stand my anxious feeling right now, in this moment. Say it out loud. No exceptions. You have to say this out loud. I don't care. Okay? I can stand it. I can stand it. Okay? Alright. And let it do whatever it does. Let anxiety fill up your body. Okay? You can stand it. I'm not gonna, I can stand out my anxiety, my anxious feelings right now. And now observe, as you're breathing and saying this out loud, observe that anxiety going from completely controlling your body. Observe it transform into something else. Because it's not gonna last forever. That feeling, it can't last forever. Nothing lasts forever. So keep breathing through it, and now watch it kind of die down a little bit, right? You're going to start to feel it transform into a calmness, right? Because now that you've fled the anxiety, do its thing. It's going to start to die down a little bit, and you're going to start feeling a lot better about yourself. And because you're not trying to hide from it or hide it, because you do acknowledge it and you have the intention of letting it express itself, it's going to die down, and you're going to start to feel good about yourself because now you've taken control of your emotional destiny. Okay? And it feels good to have that feeling of empowerment. Alright? I hope. And if you're feeling rageful, if you feel anger, like you want to go on a killing spree, and you're having that kind of a flashback, it's the same thing. If you're feeling like you're just full of rage, I'm gonna put my hand on your shoulder if you're full of rage right now. Accept how rageful you're feeling, because you're supposed to feel that way, though. Don't feel embarrassed or ashamed that you're feeling this level of anger or rage, like you're ready to kill somebody. It's okay. That's normal. That's a normal fight or flight response. You're not gonna kill anybody. You're not gonna go crazy. You're not gonna lose control. I know you're not. But you do have this rage inside of you. And this is what I want you to do. Let the rage be there and You're normal. Okay, you're supposed to feel fight or flight, anger or rageful. You're normal. Okay. And I'm gonna put both my hands on you. Both my hands are on your shoulders right now, and I'm with you. And I want you to be with you. And I want you to be with your anger, or I want you to be with your anxiety. If you're having a flashback, I want you to be with that, okay? Good, good, good. Every time, this isn't going to work in one day, but I bet you $100 you're feeling some kind of relief. I bet you $200 you're feeling something. I know you are. You might want to not feel these feelings ever again for as long as you live, but it just takes time. Every time you feel this way, I want you to keep doing what we just did together, okay? And every time you verbally dispute your illogical feelings and you act against your illogical feelings, irrational feelings, they become weaker and you become more empowered. So keep pressing into it. Keep pressing into the uncomfortable, disturbing emotions you may have. And the more you press into it, the more you act against it, the more you dispute it, the more empowered you become, the more mastery you gain, the more mastery you're going to gain as far as your emotions go. Okay. Alright. And so now, in any emotional situation, you can face it and you can stand it. Okay. Good, 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 good. Now, I've been there and I hear you, and you're normal. You're a human being. This is what happens to human beings when they enter combat against another human being. Okay. Now, actually, I was just reading about this Marine Corps General, Smedley Butler, and he was a major general in the Marine Corps, and when he first entered combat, his first combat experience, he pretty much almost went, I don't know, anxious. He became very anxious, disoriented, and but you know what, that's okay. It didn't make him less of a person or less of a Marine. He was able to regain his composure and just kind of, go through with it, and watch his own feelings transform from panic to a feeling of wasn't stationed there at Abu Ghraib, and so I didn't really have a superior officer to report to or anything like that, or I didn't have an assigned battle station. I was just there to pick up some prisoners and to just leave. I was supposed to be there for a couple days, so there wasn't a whole lot for me to do. Most of the combat was being fought by there were Marines at Abu Ghraib that were I think they were doing the majority of the combat, and there was also Army, and so Army and Marines were out there doing the combat. The people that were stationed there. Let me get my tissue. So yeah. Okay. And we were watching the combat from the fortified position that we were at, and bombs were going off, machine guns, helicopters, everything. And some of the people that I was with were hanging outside the door because they wanted to get a good look at the combat. And I was far away from the door because I didn't want to take the risk of, number one, a mortar or rocket exploding right there and just making you blind or making you causing injury to your body. And so that's another way my anxiety helped me stay safe, because I felt anxious about going near the door and exposing myself. Had a mortar gone off, those guys that were by the door would have aided, and they would have aided and really sustained pretty traumatic injuries. But thankfully, that did not happen. My main concern while we were there was a suicide bomber or a gunman coming into our position and trying to shoot up the place, because sometimes there's an inside job. People that work on the base are actually terrorists, and sometimes there's an inside job. So I was mainly concerned about that, about someone running into where we were and kind of launching an attack there. And yeah, it's just kind of uncomfortable for me to say these things, talk about these things, like my mindset, because I don't know, like, I don't like saying how I was thinking about suicide bombers and gunmen coming to kill me. Like, it just sounds weird to me now. I don't feel, it feels uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable. I don't know. I mean, if I was in uniform and other people were in uniform and we were talking about that, it would be normal. But because I'm like a civilian, I'm not in that anymore. It feels uncomfortable. Okay. And then yeah, it went on for hours and hours. Sometimes I think about, it was a big attack too. It was a huge, huge attack. It was Al-Qaeda in Iraq claimed responsibility for it. So it wasn't the Iraqis not wanting American troops in their country. It's really more about Al-Qaeda terrorists, like foreign fighters, just was kind of my experience during that whole night. It lasted all night long. And, people were being medevaced out because they sustained injuries. And it got pretty rough. And sometimes I try to imagine what it would be like to be on the other side. Launch an attack on Abu Ghraib. What if you're part of the Al Qaeda group? And what was going through their minds? Because, could you imagine you have the most advanced military in the world coming down on you, and these high walls, and these machine guns, and, just spraying, unloading onto your position. There were even some tanks, some American tanks were called in for support. And, there are all kinds of reinforcements coming into Abu Ghraib to help us out, fight back the attack, because it was that big, and it was getting pretty serious. And, could you imagine being on the other side, and, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, are you listening to music while you attack? Are you listening to Jimi Hendrix all along the watchtower? Do you have that playing in your MP3 player while you attack? Or, what's going through your mind? Did they do drugs before they attacked? What were they doing? It's an intense feeling just knowing that you are going to die. There's no way you're going to attack the American military like that and expect to survive. It's a suicide mission that those guys were on. Those guys that attacked us that's suicide. It was like a suicide attack. That's the way I view it. They had to know that they were going to die. There's no prisoners being taken, but okay. It's intense. It's an intense thing to be in combat, and to somebody actually wants to see you dead. Is what can I say? It's not a good feeling, and it actually changed my psychology a little bit in terms of how I viewed Iraqis, people, and how I viewed anyone that wasn't on my team. It changed the way I thought. Pretty much, after that, I became more suspicious of people that were not wearing American uniforms. I became, more resentful. It really, no good. Yeah. So, and then, let me just continue on with the story. What else happened? Oh yeah, the next day or the next couple days, we load up the prisoners to take back down to southern Iraq, to Camp Buka, and we're at the gate about to leave Abu Ghraib, and as soon as we are about to leave the gate, a suicide car bomb blows up right outside the gate. At that point, and I could feel the shockwave from the suicide car bomb. It kind of rippled through my body, and I wasn't hurt or anything, but a huge mushroom cloud. There's a huge mushroom cloud came over, and it was very intimidating, because even though the car bomb went off, a part of me thought, okay, we're gonna delay this convoy and leave another day. No, there was no delay in the convoy, because I thought a commercial bus driven by Iraqis, and the Iraqi bus driver kind of looked at me, kind of worried, and kind of locked eyes with me, and did this motion. He wanted to make sure he was intimidated and scared, just like I was, and he wanted to make sure that I would not hesitate to use my rifle against anything that was suspicious. And I just gave him a nod, like, yes, I understand what you're saying. And so we continued on the convoy anyway. Luckily, there was no other incidents after that. We didn't get ambushed, and we made it back to southern Iraq safely and unloaded the prisoners. Oh, there was an incident on the convoy though. We pulled over the convoy. There was a disturbance on one of the buses. Some of the prisoners were acting kind of disturbing things. And there's about two guards on each bus, and the prisoners are handcuffed. And they're causing trouble, so we pull over the convoy. The commander of the convoy enters the bus and starts flipping out on the prisoners, and pretty much, I don't know if I should say this. I'm gonna say allegedly this happened. I'm not gonna confirm the details if this did or did not happen. But he threatened to execute the prisoners if they didn't cooperate. He pulled out his gun and gave them a very stern warning. But after that, we continued on the convoy after that, so the prisoners complied. And in all fairness, imagine if you think, I don't know if the commander overreacted, but in his mindset, that guy's mindset, the commander of the convoy is responsible for the convoy. Considering that there was just the largest attack on U.S. forces in a while at Abu Ghraib, and there's a car bomb just went off that same day. You gotta consider that guy's mindset when he gave that warning and his actions. So, considering all that, I don't know if he overreacted, but I can see why he did what he did. Yeah. Now, in that video link below, you can see the car bomb that I'm talking about. I think on the 2-minute mark, that mushroom cloud was that car bomb, and then I think when we were just like about to leave that gate, if that car bomb blew up any later and saw the convoy leaving, I wouldn't have this pretty face that I'm having today. If that car bomb blew up later, I mean, who knows what would have been the target of that car bomb? It would have been, I could be telling a different story. Matter of fact, I could not be telling this story. I could have been, because I was in a bus, and the bus provides no armor, and so if that car bomb went off near me, oh my god, I don't think I would be able to I don't know what would have happened. I don't want to think about what could have happened to me. All I know is, for some reason, things happened the way they did, and I'm happy that I'm here. Okay. you learn these things, and you don't just resort to alcohol or any kind of crutch. You don't resort to like vice, sex, alcohol, all these things. This is why I'm talking about it, because I don't like to see people in the military, outstanding human beings that serve in the military, that come back home and they get into trouble with sex, drugs, alcohol, domestic abuse, all these things. I don't like suicide. I don't like to see that. That's why I make this video, especially to the young guys. Especially to the young guys. Okay. I'll continue to make more videos about this topic, even though they're uncomfortable. There's a lot of things in the military that I would suggest that they do differently to beef up their emotional mastery of the soldiers there. Yeah, there's a lot of things that the military does that is just it could be done better. I mean, they do their best right now. They do acknowledge PTSD, which is good. I heard back in Vietnam and other wars, conflicts, that they didn't really acknowledge PTSD and things like that. And society pays a price when you don't acknowledge these things. They pay a price in terms of the stuff that I just mentioned: drug abuse, suicide, people not showing up for work. There's a huge social cost to war, and it can't be calculated in dollars and cents. I mean, it can. It tracks the economy down, tracks society down, but I don't know. Okay, but listen, I'm here for you. I feel your pain if you've had anything that I just talked about here. Send me a private message. And I can get you relief, and it won't cost you